Welcome to SoCal Surf with Dan Nappy, and today we went to San Onofre State Beach in San Clemente area. But before we go there, let's talk a little bit about Labor Day. That was yesterday. Surf, we went to the cliffs. Surf was good, big, smooth, glassy. But we knew it was going to be crowded, so we went earlier than usual. And sure enough, we were the only people out, and there was 5 of us. And it was really good. It was very glassy, about waist to shoulder high, and some clean sets came in. So that was really good. And we drifted. First was kind of weird because usually the current is going from south to north this time of the year. But when we first got there, it wasn't going either direction. It was just stagnant. And then we realized that we were starting to drift south, which is opposite of the direction it would normally go for this time of year. And then about another half hour after that, it started to go back to north. So we started drifting north again. So by the time we got done surfing, we were down close to the gap between the two cliffs, but not quite. So it was a little different as far as, the current goes. And there were some dolphins that were close to us today, or I should say Monday, that they seemed to be a little friendlier than usual. So maybe it was more Memorial Day holiday for them as well. But, about being that it's a holiday, a lot of people were coming out. When we first got there, it was just us. And then shortly after, they started to trickle in. And then by 8:30, they were coming in groups. Just lots of people coming in. And by the time 9 o'clock came around, there was people all around you on every side. I call it elbow to elbow. And so, you can't take any wave you see. Now you have to start looking left and right to make sure no one's on it and make sure you're in the right position, which means you want to get yourself to the peak or the first part of the wave when it starts to break. A lot of them were walled up, which also means that the whole wave is going to break at once, which doesn't give you any direction to go, just straight. So you don't want the walled ones. You want the ones that have a direction. And a lot of them were A-frame, what we call A-frame, which is it breaks as though it was an A, and you can go left or right, and the wave just peels both directions. And those are the perfect waves that come in, but those were rare. But I got a couple, and I did get a really good left. And it was breaking already to my left as I was looking out towards the ocean. So I turned and took off on it on the shoulder, and nobody else was on it. It was a big outside set. So by the time it got to me, most people were too far in to catch it. But I was lucky enough to get the shoulder, and I rode that one going left, and I was coming off the bottom pretty fast. And as I turned back to go back straight into the wave, straight down the face, I started to slow down a little bit, started to get a little weaker, but I managed to hold it for a second and then do another turn, and then again hit the dead zone, and when it was unable to go any further, so it pulled out. So a lot of those type of waves, just quick in and outs, I call them. They're not real long. So that was actually yesterday, Memorial Day, but today we decided we were going to go to San Onofre because the surf was big, and the tide was coming in, so we were thinking it was going to be really good. And when we first got there, it was also very glassy, very smooth. I didn't see any really big waves, so we, got ready, got in the water. And, when you do that at San Onofre on the lower tide, you got a lot of rocks to contend with because the whole bottom of the ocean is boulders, different size rocks and various things. So you have to kind of work your way out very slowly so you don't scar up your feet. I had booties on because those are a little more protection for your feet. So I was able to get out, had to walk at least 50 yards on the rock before the water got deep enough that I could lean on the surfboard more, and then a few more feet until it was deep enough to paddle. And then wave came, I jumped on it and started paddling to get to deeper water. And so it went really well. And then as I was paddling out, I guess that's when the sets decided to roll in. And I just kept paddling wave after wave, duck dive after duck dive, and the water was colder for some reason. I was expecting it to be warmer, and it wasn't. So water was cold, very cold, almost winter cold. And paddling out, duck diving, paddling out, duck diving. Finally got out, which I thought was past the breakers. And then the giant set decided to come in, and these faces, up until now we're looking at, waist to shoulder high, maybe head high set, and then all of a sudden these 8-foot swells start rolling in, which is well overhead, probably a body and a half face. And they started rolling out, so I was paddling as fast as I could to get outside, but it just wasn't enough. It was just so big and so far out. Had to duck dive, and just the amount of force and water that goes over you is way, way impressive. So I paddled around out there in the what they call Old Man's. That's a section of the beach that's where it's just, I don't know why they call it that, but it's the surf breaks further out. And so we were surfing out there for a while. I wasn't really catching any waves. I was paddling left and right, in and out, trying to get in the right position. It's such a large area. San Onofre's big. And so you're looking at hundreds of yards in all directions. Waves are breaking. So to get right in the exact position was difficult. So as I was doing that, I realized that there was a break to the north of me that was closer in and easier to surf. So I thought I'd just drift over there, which I did. And that's when I started to have a lot more success. And when you catch a wave over there, you're basically getting closer to shore, and since the tide was out, it would reform. So it would break, and then it would kind of slow down a little bit, then it would break again. And, different from Huntington, you could surf to connect those two pretty easy. And so I just catch the white water on the bigger sets. As if it already broke, I'd catch that white and then start working my way towards the shoulder, and it would reform and then start getting steeper and faster. And so, which makes it fun because you're already standing and you can get in position really easy. So doing about 5 or 6 turns, because at San Onofre your rides are always so much longer because of the distance you're traveling is just great. So you're getting 5 and 6 turns in, where at Huntington you get 2 or 3 maybe. And Newport you might get 4 because there's no dead zone in most areas in Newport. But San Onofre goes for on and on. So if you caught it on the outside, which a lot of people were doing, you're riding that wave for possibly 2 football fields. So it could go that far at San Onofre. That's why a lot of people go there. But it wasn't too crowded. It was a Tuesday in the middle of the week. Summer's not quite here, but it's pretty dang close. People are getting out of school every day. So it's getting to be more and more like summer, but it's not quite there. So it was not crowded. So that was a plus. So we were able to, I was able to get a lot of waves without anybody really getting in my way. So that was awesome. So that was pretty good. San Onofre, and then, we had 5 people with us, and, after the first 5 minutes, I didn't see anybody else because it's such a large area. Like I say, they're spread out all over the place. And I saw some in the distance catch a few waves, further in, further out. But from where I was, nobody else from our group was there, so I was the only one over there. So I liked it, so I might try that area again, or I might go up more closer to Churches, which is the very north end of San Onofre. That's before you make the jump over to Trestles. So we have a friend that's in the Air Force, so he can get us on the base, which is closer parking to Trestles and Churches. And then there's the Point, where I was today, which is just north of Old Man's. And it's just about where the road comes down from the cliff. And so it's called the Point. And then Churches is further north, and then you got Trestles. So pretty good. Next time we're going to try that area and see if we can do any better over there. But for now, we're just going to say good day at San Onofre. Didn't see any dolphins or anything at San Onofre, but I know they're there. And they're just hanging out like we are. So until next time, thanks for listening. We'll see what happens tomorrow. Probably Huntington or possibly Newport. There's a big swell coming, so we're going to take a look and see what's going to be good tomorrow. All right, till then, thanks for listening. Check out our sponsors, Merch Hero, nappyclothing.com, and Task Bullet for all your needs. Thanks again. See you soon. Bye.